Hi everyone, my name is James Belanger, and today we are making a family secret recipe. It's our oatmeal raisin cookies that also include a cream cheese frosting on top. This recipe is very complex from a chemistry standpoint because we have a cream cheese frosting that requires cooling and condensing of the molecules, where on the other hand the oatmeal raisin cookies go in the oven that we have already preheated to 350 degrees. That causes expansion of the molecules. So we're starting in a bowl with our butter, as we can see here. One helpful tip is we put it in the microwave for 20 seconds. Now that our butter is softened, like so, we are starting to commence the mixing process. Here we have 3/4 cup of brown sugar, firmly packed to allow the cookies to stay together when it's time after being beat. We have 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. That goes in there too. And then we're doing 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. And then 2 eggs. We'll see the composition that these molecules have after coming together is very different than each of them initially start off with. They take on a lot of the characteristics of each other. Here we are, we have a beater here. We'll start on a very low speed and we will work our way up as we go. Now that we have mixed until we've reached a homogeneous mixture, the next step is 1.5 cups flour. So we're going to add both of these, and we have to use our tablespoon for a couple of things. Start with the 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Doesn't want to go. Oh my god.
Well, extra cinnamon never hurts.
Our next step is very important, if not the most important step of the process. We have our teaspoon of baking soda. This baking soda acts as a catalyst when it's in the oven, and we're going to beat them together until we have created another homogeneous mixture. Without this baking soda, our cookies come out with a very different texture that is desirable. An important step of the process is to get the frosting off of the beaters by licking them. Next step of the process, we aren't going to use the mixer for this because we don't want to beat our raisins. That is 1 cup of raisins, like so, and 3 cups of oats. We hear a dog in the background. She usually helps us when we're in our lab, but today she was outside. Due to my genetic makeup containing a lot of roots directly from the state of Vermont, everything I make, I include just a little bit of maple syrup just to add a part of my genetic pool to each of my creations. We have a heterogeneous mixture here containing our solid oats and our more aqueous previous mixture. This is the part that's very important. We need to calculate the expansion of the molecules that they'll experience once undergoing the heat. It's an endothermic reaction. They're going to take in a lot of the heat, causing the molecules to expand and the energy within the mixture to increase. Here we're going to calculate the distance that they should expand and therefore make a reasonable assumption on how far apart we should put each of the cookie spots. Obviously, the bigger the clump you have now, they'll be multiplying, causing bigger cookies once they come out of the oven. The next step to take our cookies, once we have predicted the distance between them and place them onto the trays, is to insert them into the already heated oven. They would stay here approximately 8 to 10 minutes, allowing time for the different molecules to come together. Alexa, set a 10-minute timer.
10 minutes, starting now.
Here we have the second part of our masterpiece. It is a much less complex molecule. It is the cream cheese frosting. We're starting with the entire block of cream cheese, followed by about a quarter stick of butter, mixed with the rest of the vanilla extract we have here, probably about a third of a tablespoon. And obviously, as we've gone over, due to my genetic makeup, we have to include some maple syrup. And then finally, we're gonna do this as we beat on a low speed, just to make the mixing process easier when it comes. Slowly add the confectionery sugar. Just like we did with the cookies, before the oats and the raisins, we're gonna mix this until we again reach the homogeneous mixture. It's gonna be a similar texture to the one we had before. So after we are completing the mixing, we see that we have a pretty accurate solution. It's a little bit more solid, a little bit more condension between the molecules than the cookies before the oats and raisins. Obviously, it's very important to try it. As we discussed at the beginning of the video, once we have our frosting, it's very important to put it in the fridge. This allows the molecules to come together even closer, which will help us become more solid once it's spread on the cookies after the cookies are done. After hearing our lab assistant Alexa tell me that she believes that the cookies should be ready, time to take them out, see how they're looking. Almighty fine. That level surface gives us plenty of room to work with frosting. As we can see, the texture of the cookies is magnificent. It's perfect. It allows for a smooth surface. Should be great for spreading the frosting. The final step of the process, in my opinion, the most important part of the process, is the final balancing of the cookie to frosting ratio. We've done a great job setting up a platform for the frosting to sit on. The cookies are cooled, the molecules are in place where they will stay after expanding in the oven, being exposed to the large amount of heat. The final step of the process. It's done at a very slow pace, assuring precision. And that is all. Thank you for joining Cooking with James. Dr. Belanger is going to be joining us in a moment to cook for us. Let's try it out ourselves. Mmm.